All right, so I am Priscilla and I'm here in the US and my company is Bubbly Diaspora. And my goal is to sell US based and international products and bring eh, to- uh, more cultural awareness to different products all over the world. And today I have Maggie here, where I enjoy some of her products, even her cookbooks, and I will let her give some feedback on what she has done, especially with the good work that she's done with her world-renowned cookbooks.
Hello, I'm Maggie Ogunbanwo, and I'm based in the UK. I'm actually based in North Wales, which is a Welsh-speaking part of the UK. So our first language here in Wales, or the people's first language, is Welsh. So I've had to learn a bit to get on with my business. And my business is based and established here in North Wales. And what we say is we're trying to bring an African twist to people's everyday dish. And I guess it's to the local community and the wider community as well. A bit like Priscilla, I'm looking at international markets to try and showcase African-inspired food in a different light than people see it now, or people have not seen it at all. So we try to showcase that. So we manufacture our products, sauces, spice mixes, gifts on site. We have supporting goods like our African-inspired aprons, but those are those are a double-edged, so to speak. Literally, you can use both sides, and one side is made from local coffee sacks that we get from a local roaster, and then we use African fabrics on the other side. And our most exciting project, and all I do actually excites me, but because we're driven by the desire to untie women's hands, to showcase, to maybe be a role model of sorts, to showcase to people what is possible. Our cookbooks are really have really opened that door to us now. We've won an international award with our Melting Pot cookbook, and then our second cookbook that came out this year is called An African Twist. And literally, some of the recipes are taking some of the favorite recipes, soups and things that people are aware of here, and just adding an African twist. And I could go on and on, Priscilla, but if there's anything else you...
I do have the books here. So this is
yes.
The Melting Pot. And I really like this book because it involves all different cultures within this book. So, and I also like the African twist as well, which showcase more more awareness of African dishes that a lot of the of maybe the world may not be aware of. So these two books, I think, go hand in hand. And
raise them a bit higher, please. Yeah, there you go. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so I think they go hand in hand in in providing more more roundness around the world, around different food groups and different cultures. So
True. The Melting Pot is, we had over 17 contributors, like you say, from all over, from the minority ethnic communities all over Wales. It's a real triumph of recipes and their things, but and their private stories or personal stories around those. But the African Twist recipe book is plant-based, and I have said this from the time I began to understand African cooking, that I think our cooking is very much plant-based, and then we add meat. So most Africans will eat a protein, as they call it, but our dishes are plant-based, and then you add that. And so that was the thoughts behind the African Twist cookbook.
Yeah. So one of the reasons why I started Bubbly Diaspora before expanding it more into the international market is because I wanted to have awareness of African heritage foods. And when I say African heritage foods, when most people think about Africa, they just think of Africa as the continent. And Bubbly Diaspora means scattered people. So I wanted I wanted people to think about the the African heritage throughout the world. Just like, for example, you're in Wales, I'm here in the US. My mom's from Jamaica, and so I have family in the Caribbean, and I have an uncle in Canada. So I wanted, and I wanted people to be able to think about the different African heritage throughout the world, not just to not just sit saying like, oh, this food is just only for African people. It's for everyone.
I like that. I think you must have been happy then with the Jamaican curry recipe in the Melting Pot Cookbook. But I like the fact that you said your focus is on the scattered
Yeah,
people from of African descent, because to some extent our foods have changed then to a little bit, and it's okay. It's okay or they've been modified, or we've amalgamated them with the foods of the people that we are living around. So I love that. Actually, I love that it's the focus on the diaspora.
yeah. And then my father, he's from Nigeria. So
Oh wow.
when people think about African food, and I get this from my Caribbean side, are just like, what exactly is African food? And most people know jollof rice. And
Yes.
usually I give that as an example. So this is why I really enjoy your cookbook, because it explores the different recipes that people go, huh, I eat beans too. Like, that's a good bean dish. And um, I want people to be able to see more recipes that are similar, just like jollof rice is similar to almost Hispanic red rice.
Yes. Yes.
So it's kind of bringing cultures together and understanding similarities, and trying out, and not being intimidated, or I guess maybe timid to try out a new dish. So uh, sometimes people don't try things because they're just like, I'm not too sure what that is. But with cookbooks, they start to see like the similarities, and images show that, I might want to try this food out, just like I might want to try a different restaurant out.
I like that you mentioned similarities, because my journey with food is now showing me that, there are a lot of commonalities in people's foods, and maybe because of diaspora, maybe because of people moving out and about. So you mentioned red rice. To some extent, jollof rice reminds me of paella as well, so yeah, I think that there are very many similarities, and on that basis, people should try it. It might be one or two things that are different that gives jollof rice its special, its own particularness. But yeah, I agree with you. Part of writing a cookbook was so that people can experience more of Africa.
Yes. And then yeah, so I'm hoping with my shop here in the US, there's not too many uh, African based shops, which is why I started. I was in North Carolina with my brother, and we were looking for uh, pounded yam flour, and it was very difficult to find. So I decided to myself, and then I had people that asked me sometimes about different types of food. So I decided to myself, if I'm not cooking it, why don't I sell the products and try to bring product awareness of the different cultural foods. And for example, uh, have started to learn more about Africa food than I knew before. Like, for example, with teas, I thought tea only came from South Africa, the rooibos tea. and I now I know about the Kenyan purple tea. So like this type of awareness, I want to share it with the world, and I want people to also understand, be able to see the different cultural foods, just when you go to any other ethnic restaurant, like if you go to an Italian restaurant, you know, pasta. If you go to a Chinese restaurant, um, you you know um, you know, General Chaosu,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so on and so forth. So I want like people, you know, if you go to an African restaurant to learn and find your favorites, to know like, oh, jollof rice is my favorite, um, fried yam is my favorite. So just stuff like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. What I think also is exciting, I know you got some of the Kilombero rice. I realize as well that we have loads of different types of rice in Africa. And again, this has been part of my journey. I just knew of long grain rice or Uncle Ben's rice or something like that that we used to import. But this journey has taken me to go searching for rice in different parts where I travel to. And the fact that Malawi Kilombero rice is actually one of the tastiest rice that I've ever had, and it's based on where it grows in Malawi. It's very buttery without you adding any butter. But I've also since discovered that there are different, quite a number of different rice grains or types in Nigeria, where I come from originally, and even in Nigeria, not everybody knows them. So one of my heart's desires is to go and package the rice that we have there, the local rice. There was one I saw. It's like a mixture of wild rice and long grain rice, normal rice. And I thought, if this was on the tables in the US here in restaurants, it will make a really pretty serving of rice, you know. Yes, but people don't use it as much. So this is an exciting opportunity, I think, to know about things, to talk about them. I'm even happy to, you know, send information about foods, about different foods. I'll try not to talk too much, but I'm writing another book right now, a really quick book. And I realized that I was telling the story of the pop-up restaurants that we did. And because of doing pop-up restaurants, I've discovered so much more about our foods, and I've written more about our foods. I've understood about them. So I'm happy as well to, you know, share some of that writing or information with you that might be useful in your store. And if I stop there and just ask, I didn't realize that you had a physical store as well as an online store.
Yes, so my physical store is by appointment only, and it kind of
Ah,
works out with the pandemic. I think in the modern times, it's easier to have a online a by appointment only physical store. The reason why I have a physical store is because I needed a, a place to keep most of the inventory. So
yes,
yeah,
yes.
so it actually worked out cheaper to have a store than to find a food facility. Because I'm working with food, you can't just store food in a storage warehouse. You have to find it.
Yes.
So
So how is it working? How is the by appointment and the brick and mortar store working? Or
so pretty much my website is set up. If someone locally wants to pick up an order, they just click pick up.
ah
They come in and they pick up the order. So
ah,
that's how it's working by appointment.
and if they want it posted, then it gets posted out.
Yes, but most of
Mm.
the orders are posted out. There are very few people that want pickup only. So I've only had one person that wanted pickup only. And I think usually those are the people that are sensitive to like their mailing address, even though just like a physician, everything, you know, I'm under oath that I don't even look as much as the labels. I make sure that the orders are correct. but I don't, I'm not like scanning people's address going like, oh,
No.
that's where so-and-so live. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I think usually those people are more comfortable with picking up the instances for some of the local people.
So your store, can I ask where the store is based?
Oh yeah, so it's based in Watertown, Connecticut, and
Okay.
that Connecticut is right next to New York and Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The reason I'm asking is are the Africa diaspora aware of your store? Because I know that when we have traveled, sometimes we have family in Massachusetts, and when we've traveled, sometimes we've driven miles looking for an African food shop.
I would say through Instagram and Facebook, I'm starting to try to build that awareness, but um I have branched more I've branched more into an international store,
Mm-hmm.
being also being part Caribbean, because the point of Bubbly Diaspora is I'm trying to bring the unity of, it was mainly to bring the unity of all Black cultures together, whether
Mm-hmm.
you were from Latin America or you're from Africa directly, or from North America that include Canada, the Caribbean, or even from Europe or
Mm-hmm.
the UK. So I was trying to, bring the culture together through the store. But um, what I did a trade show, and when I did a trade show, I got some people were just saying, "Oh, she's selling African products." Some of the products are actually made in the US here, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and your products are made in Wales, but they're a source. The resources are African resources.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't want that mindset to become like closed. I wanted it to be more open-minded, and yeah, more open-minded, because for some reason when people think of Africa, they like I have a very good friend, and she didn't mean anything negative of it, and she's just like, you know all the food that you guys eat is by hand. And I'm like, all the food that we eat is not by hand. So,
Oh,
so
yeah.
yeah. So, um, yeah, so I decided to bring a more of an international approach to it so that people could start to feel the connection that, Africa is similar, just like any other place. Um, uh, the I have tomato stew from another company,
Mm-hmm.
and it's made by a Nigerian woman, and tomato stew, isn't like, I don't know if you know Indomin, like,
I know,
yeah,
Indomie, yeah.
with noodles. So a lot of people don't realize that in Africa we eat noodles too, so they just think
Yes.
we're just eating pounded yam and um like fufu and gari. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm bringing awareness like, no, there's other foods there. I was like, there's even international restaurants there. Like I've seen Chinese restaurants in Nigeria before. So I'm trying to bring more of the modern food culture world into um to people, so that they have that awareness based on what there's like. There used to be in the US here, like on the food channels, they used to have travel shows where people travel to different countries and they show the restaurants and stuff. They don't really do too much of that in Africa. So
No.
like, I'm hoping like with this dialogue, I'm hoping to post this and just start showing, like, there are these branches of modernization in Africa. Yeah, there are parts that are rural, and there's rural everywhere. So sometimes people give me like, Africa is still developing, but there are places all over the world that are developing too. So I'm trying to, highlight the positivity of Africa so that the Africa heritage all over the world could grow. Because I see it as, if people have a negative view of Africa, that negative view is kind of contagious and goes around the world. Just like, not to bring up the Ukraine situation, I heard like on the news with the whole thing, how Black people were treated in Ukraine, some Black people.
Mm.
And you know, I I I want I want like my store to have a positive view through through food and products, that there is modernization of Africa, and there are good things that come out of Africa. And like, I'm teaching myself the resources. Like, Africa is one of the big producers of cashews now, and
Hmm.
and India too as well. And a lot of people don't know that. And then even cocoa, like, so
Yeah, and coffee. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So it's just like, I'm trying to bring this this new this new world of seeing Africa in a positive life, in a positive light, which will allow Black people also to be seen more in a positive light by all the positive contributions that we have, whether it's through food or any other field.
I totally hear you. And that's, I think, what I was saying about our pop-up restaurants. When we did our pre-COVID, when we did pop-up restaurants, we were taking a journey by food around Africa. We also gave people information about the different countries. So like you say, if people go to Lagos, it's one of the most cosmopolitan cities that I know. Actually, it's very, you can find all kinds of modernity, to be honest, including in the food and including in the fusion. So yes, there is a lot of good in Africa, and a lot of good happening around. And I'm so pleased that you're trying to showcase this through Bubbly Diaspora. I've got a question for you. I was curious about how you found us. Yeah, I was pleased that you found us on Fair, but I was curious how you did.
Oh, so I looked up Black owned businesses, and that's how I was able to find you guys, because you're listed under I believe you're listed under Black owned businesses, and that's how I've been finding a lot of different Black suppliers, because uh, a lot of people don't realize, like, there's this honey company and they make honey, and a lot of people don't realize that Black people, um, they make honey, they make waffles. There's
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
so I had a person, and she didn't mean wrong, but she didn't mean like, no, she didn't mean not to be well about it, but she said, oh, she looked at my website and she said, waffles is not really a Black food. And I said, um, in America culture, America is more of a blended culture of different foods. And what this girl did is that she made plantain waffles. So she integrated something that was tropical into a waffle. And um, that's what I want to see more in the world, is, you know, us integrating different stuff. If I go, like, McDonald's is a good example. All over the world, McDonald's does not carry the same products. There's like,
No,
so if you go to Japan, there's probably
they
a
have local. Yeah.
teriyaki McChicken,
Yes, yes.
So, so I want that feeling, throughout the world, where people see anything that is African food based, and they say moi moi, which is like baked blended baked beans, and they go, that's something that I would like to have with a salad. Yeah.
Totally. Priscilla, I totally get what you're saying. In fact, the more I talk with you, the more I understand it. And it's right up my street, because a lot of the things I do are fusions or deconstructions. So I have a plantain loaf. I make a plantain loaf. I add chili. I add some of my chili sauce to it. I add ginger, and I've mixed a Welsh recipe with the Ghanaian influence of plantain and my growing up. But I also have patties, which, you know, the West Indians are really into. But because of my setup and what we have, I've made my patties vegan. So I have plantain and spinach patties, that sort of thing. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and then the good thing about even like you being in Wales, and then me, so I'm American born, but of multi cultures, and me, like when you say patties and stuff, and this is how I kind of want the world to be. I go, oh, you know, in Nigeria they have meat pies. Meat pies are
Exactly.
just like so I want that openness of you know, positivity through food.
Yeah, I get that. It's really good. I guess one of the things just listening to you is that you have to educate people about what you're doing and what Bubbly Diaspora is trying to do.
Yeah, so I am working on it. Just like, you know, this is one of my first long dialogues about the business, and it's more of getting comfortable of talking about the, just like with anything, there's going to be positive and negative. So I'm trying to decrease the negative of the view of Africa. And yeah, when I did the trade show in Hartford, Connecticut, well, you know, I had someone that was not Black that said, you know, she's just selling African products. So I I don't want people to feel, you know, I don't want people to feel that way. I want them to feel like I'm selling products. Like when I go to the grocery store, I don't say, you know, this is just a specific cultural product.
Yeah, I'm buying American products. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I want people to feel, you know, that the products are welcoming to them.
Yeah. Yes, I hear you. And yeah. And so how do you find your international customers?
The international, I ended up going international by social media, and it's I I thought I would have got a lot of Black customers, but then I got a lot of other different races looking into the products. So I said to myself, you know, this is going to have to be international to continue to bring this awareness and to keep all the different cultures drawn in. I don't want someone to feel that, you know, it's just for African-based people and shy away from it. And that's how I became more of an international, American and international store. So I put American because um, a lot of American products are sourced from Africa and made in the US. So I want people to understand that too. Like, yeah, I gave the cashew example. There's a brand at Target here called Good Fathers, and now they put that, you know, the cashews came on the back, that it was the ingredients came from Nigeria.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so I want to see more stuff like that. And Trader Joe's now sell a pre-made bag of jollof rice
Oh,
from,
wow.
I believe it may be from Ghana, but it, yeah, so I want to see more of that integration into all stores around the world.
I hear you. Sounds exciting. Are you excited about it?
Yes, I am.
Because you're doing it alongside other things that you're doing.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I studied nutritional and biochemistry. So I never thought I would go into food. I originally worked in biotech, and I was doing an MBA and started to learn about marketing and business, and I was thinking about culture and stuff. And every time I hear something negative about culture, I I don't get upset. I turn that negative into a positive. So someone asked me what fonio was, and I said it's like couscous. So
Mm,
I've tried to educate myself so that I could turn any type of negative energy into positive, and re-educate that person. Sometimes people
mhm,
don't mean to be negative, they just don't know.
mhm, mhm. I get you. Yeah. I have to say, even here in the UK, I have to educate people about my products. I do have people even now coming to me and saying, "What do we do with your sauces?" So I'm mine is or what do we do with your spice mixes? Because it is not typical in the British diet to spice up everything. And I said, I grew up. There's no food you cook that you don't spice. So I have to educate people around that too.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so and a lot of the Caribbean and American food, even I guess globally, uh a lot of the African touches have been kept into the culture. It's just called something different now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. Yep. Just assimilated and call something different. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time to speak to me. And yeah, I look forward to doing more work with you in the future.
Priscilla, same here. I appreciate that you bought and supported our products, and I do look forward to doing more work with you. Yeah, and helping in the educating journey. So out of the blue, I might send you some information about something that I've collated over the years so that your customers can better understand some of our products. Why, for example, you were saying people say all we eat is with our hands, but you should see what modern eba and fufu looks like now, what they're doing with them, So yes, I look forward to the future.
Yeah.
And I pray it goes really well with you.
Well, thank you.